Well, it's been more time than we wanted to, but we've got another Zoo Crew Redo podcast. Andy Lindahl, Scott Hastings. I found my coat, by the way.
Huh? I saw you wore it in there.
Yeah.
And you said you're going to wear it even though you're not really cold.
No, but I had to show you. It's like we're part of a gang nobody wants to be a part of. It's you and me.
Right? Yeah. Hey, when we got the jackets, everyone, we came in there snapping our fingers like the Jets and the Sharks.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, really? Remember how stupid we were? we thought a faux Letterman's jacket was cool.
We thought this show would actually be, I don't know, kept together because of good ratings and great chemistry. I mean, who wants that? Clear Channel with your whatever crap ratings. Sorry, what?
Let us hire somebody just to fire people. No, anyway. That's a good-looking jacket.
It is a good-looking jacket.
How come it's been so long since we do this? You know, you've gotten squirrely a couple days.
Here's what's happened is I went to Home Depot.
Well, I've been to Home Depot a couple times.
Didn't really work out as far as that second job. And so now I got nights free again, and we can do our podcast.
so really, you are taking a little hit on this. Now there was a couple weekends where, hey, let's do it on Saturday, and all of a sudden, hey, we'll do it Saturday. How about you? Okay, whatever. And like you disappear. Now we were going to do it yesterday.
Yeah, I was about to say
we were going to do it Sunday. Well, you know what happened?
Yeah, I told you what I thought would happen. You ain't golfing.
But no, it wasn't. The golf didn't do it because it was Sunday. That big wind came in.
Yeah.
By the way, aren't you glad you got a new roof?
Yeah. Shout out to Golden Spike Roofing. Holy cow.
Saved you, didn't it? Anyway, so we got 60-mile-an-hour gusts. We're like, first of all, and it was cold. The wind came straight from northwest somewhere. We go, first of all, it's blowing 60 mile an hour. I made a putt. I made a birdie on the ninth hole, the last hole we played, that I basically hit 15 feet to the right, and basically the ball just blew in. I was just goofing, with the hole. So we quit. Well, now, hey, it's 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Second wave of games are coming up. Straight to the old bar room, socially distanced, and had about 5 pitchers. Luckily, it's only about a quarter mile from the house. Got to walk home. And I was in bed at 7:30.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah.
Come on, you don't make plans after a day of golf on a Sunday with football on,
you know
do
what? You probably shouldn't.
Shouldn't anyway.
Shouldn't anyway. You know what I've learned, though? If you go to bed now at 7:30, if you wake up at 3:30, you're wide awake. You're
you ain't going back to bed.
Yeah, that's like. So I was up from 3:30 to 6:15. I said, "Let me go take a nap," and I was able to take a nap for a couple hours. But I went to bed. I was out at 7:30, and woke up at 3:30, 3:45. Lay in bed till about 4:15. I said, "What am I doing?" I'm like, eyes open, go to sleep. Yeah, all right, this is going to work. Came down here, watched a couple of Andy Griffiths, and finally put myself to sleep.
See, is that your go-to old show? I've been watching some MASHes when I get bored, and I still like Cheers and Scrubs, and all I watch are old shows. But give me a MASH if we're going back to the 70s.
I'm watching, there's a new Star Trek out there.
Right.
Called Discovery. And I didn't watch the first season, so I'm recording it because one of the channels is putting all the first season on. Now I can buy it for $31.95, or I can just rent it each week and wait for an old new one come out. It's actually pretty good. I actually enjoy the series, so I watched a little Discovery, Star Trek Discovery, boo 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 boo, and then watched a little Counting Cars that I had taped up. Watched a little hot Malibu and a Corvette, and went to bed.
Well. All right.
Don't you like cars?
Yeah, I love cars.
But do you know anything about them? Could you fix anything on them?
No, I can't fix them. I'll drive them for you. But you better get someone else to be your mechanic.
Right?
Yeah. I'll drive them anywhere.
See, my little brother became a self-taught mechanic and actually worked for a bus company because I'm like thinking, first of all, I'm a little worried. They did it for like 15 years. He was the school district's bus mechanic for like 15 years. Steady job. Good insurance. But I'm like, dude, I watched you take your old car when you were a kid, pull the motor out, put it back in, put everything together, and there was only a handful of parts left. And I'm thinking, that's okay if it's your old car.
Yeah.
But if you're working on a school bus, you probably don't want to have, at the end of the day, a handful of parts. Yeah. I don't know where those go. I must not need them that bad.
Didn't need them.
Yeah.
One in the YouTube video.
This thing will still work. So, yeah, that's... Yeah, so I'm like that. And my grandfather was a mechanic. I mean, like a real mechanic. And all of his boys, he had 3 sons, they all knew how to work on a car. That's, you talk about generations. Now, I know now you better have a computer. Just might as well have your laptop. And then and you can get that. You go down to Manny, Mo, and Jack and get something. You plug it in your laptop, plug it into your engine. The diagnostic of the 541 is.
But it gives you some dumb code. Yeah, you got to go to the dealer and ask what the code means.
Yeah, or you look it up online, and then you just punch a code in, and then your car's fixed.
Yeah, or it just goes, yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah. Told you not to buy this English race car. It doesn't work well.
So you got any, I kind of became a Ford guy by default because the guys at Phil Long were so cool to me. And I know you're a Dodge guy and you got Christopher's Dodge World, but and Anthony Brownlee at Land Rover. I mean, you want to talk about the best
good dude.
Deal. Now, hold on. We're supposed to do that together. You're jumping the gun.
Oh, good dude?
No. Oh. And congratulations to Anthony who got
TV
married.
Or anything.
I know. Well, I wanted your gut reaction. We were supposed to take a gut reaction.
I already had a gut reaction.
You drank a beer. We'll talk about it. We're going to start testing drinks. So tweet at us is it at Scott Hastings?
Yeah.
Or at Andy Lindahl, Andy_Lindahl. Tell us what drinks we got to try as we get into the drinking season.
And I've said it on our podcast before. The only difference between a craft beer and a crap beer is 1 letter.
There you go.
The P.
There you go.
The P or the F. And I'm not a craft beer guy. I don't dig IPAs. I think they suck.
I'm with it. Your sour mash beer, whatever it is.
I like it. I like a good. What's the one that's cider? I like a good cider.
Good cider. I like a wheat beer. I'll go wheat beers, but I'm not.
I like a wheat bourbon.
I'm not doing your porters. I'm not doing your. If the more bitter it is, the more I'm not even trying.
Now here's the funny thing: like a stout. Like I've had it. There's a company in town makes stouts pretty good, and then there's another company.
Like a milk stout.
But I can do Guinness. I love Guinness.
Yeah, a little half and half.
But I hate most craft beer. I've not had many craft. Moose Droll is probably the closest thing to a craft beer that I like.
Okay.
Other than that, give me a mass-produced domestic fine line American lager.
Well, just find a way to get at us on social media. We'll try some of the drinks as we sit here and do our podcast. Yeah. By the way, I got a new strain hand you'll have to try. It's called Blue Peak. I think you'll like it. Very mellow blend for them, but we're going to try a pumpkin lager here tonight. But before we get too far down that road.
Yeah, before we get a 6-pack in.
Before none of this makes sense. The Ford is re-releasing the Bronco, okay?
It's smaller, though.
Did you want to go try it out? You and I come from the era of those big trucks. Like, the Bronco was a big vehicle.
Yeah.
The Blazer was a big vehicle. One of our guys, Dan Stores, our head sales guy's got a Blazer, and I was like, what is this? This is like a Lexus RX whatever.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a Blazer. Get that off there.
But it started with the Bronco 2. Remember when the Bronco 2 came out?
I don't. Was it tiny?
It was, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the really small ones back in the day.
The one, if you turned the corner at 35, it was tipping over. That one, yeah.
It's like the Suzuki Samurai?
Yeah. It was probably just a smidge better than the Samurai used to be as far as rolling. But I had a big Bronco once. Always wanted, loved it. Wish I still had it. Horrible brakes. The car was way too heavy for the brakes. The brakes they had on were terrible. But I've always wanted to break, and I've actually looked at the new Bronco that's coming out. Of course, they go, here, try this. It's only $30,000. You're like, yeah. And then you realize, oh, it sucks. Hey, but the big daddy that looks like a Land Rover and kind of BA, and you're like, oh, knobby tires, kind of sweet. That'll only cost you about $78.
Sure. You know. Here's $80.
Yeah. Here's $80,000, sir. Thank you.
Would you like to pay $1,000 a month in a car payment? I would not. Thank you. Yeah.
But it's good looking.
They're cool.
But in a picture you can't tell.
Yeah.
How big they are or anything like that.
No, I'm with you. Like I got a buddy. I'd like that big model that you're talking about. I used to drive the LR4s at Land Rover when Anthony had me hooked up, and that was just living a life I couldn't afford, but it was great. I loved it.
Yeah,
it was nice.
Good in the snow.
So, but yeah, look, I got my truck and I'm good. I'm just wondering if you were a car, because you and I go back. I probably come. Tell me if I'm right. Am I probably Gen X? Might be maybe the one behind us in their 30s. We're probably the last true car romantics, if you will.
I feel like
a lot of the 20-year-olds don't even worry about driving.
Yeah, generation now are Uber and cool skateboards.
Right,
yeah.
and look, I get it. They got their own struggles. They're trying to. They've taken on more college debt than ever, and we got no jobs for them. We probably should encourage that generation to do something else.
For the next generation
coming
up, if you're trying to get a social studies degree, probably not going to pay for itself in the long
run.
Yeah,
frankly, if you want to go into the media, just try to meet somebody.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even worry about paying for the degree.
Try to get a touchdown in an NFL game someday.
Yeah,
you have a good chance.
And then you'll get a real contract.
I'm going to tell you, I wish now, if I were a kid now, and, my option until all of a sudden I grew 6 inches and, had a sweet jumper. I was looking at the military.
Yeah.
And I was going to go. In fact, I went to the Navy recruit because I thought, that'd be cool, be in the Navy. Until you take that first cruise, you went, boy, where's that Dramamine pill? And then you realize, Navy just carries things around. I mean, unless you're a Navy pilot, now that's cool.
Yeah.
Or a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Well, now you're pretty cool.
Yeah.
But Navy, what'd you do in the Navy? I was a cook.
We sailed.
Cook, second class. All right.
I cleaned crap off the ship.
Yeah. I swabbed the poop deck from seamen. So then I looked at that, and I think, because I was thinking Army, that'd be cool. I like guns. But then I'm thinking, how many 6'6", 6'7" dudes in a foxhole you seen?
They'd send you out all right. Yeah. Hastings, go up ahead. You'd be the bird dog. Where'd that shot come from? He's too tall. I'll saw him.
Son, I said dig a foxhole, not a grave.
I could see you belly crawling. And a lot of belly to crawl.
But honest to God, that's exactly what I thought. I said, I can't go in the Army because if I can't get in a foxhole.
Well, Scotty, yeah, your little helmet popping up.
Like you're down stuck. All you got is your eyes over the thing, and meanwhile my whole chest is showing.
Hey, I think we're screwed, boys. I can see it all. Yeah. Dude, seriously, let me ask you this, though. Should we not push trade schools again? And we're not going to harp on this a long time, but whatever. Like, you know what? I wished I'd had learned a trade, because who needs to go 80, 90,000 in debt and live with their parents forever? Like, I feel bad for the bill of goods the 20-year-olds were sold.
I got a nephew who's now a master welder. He works where he wants to.
Yep.
Down in Oklahoma, he said, I can take a gig in Texas, work on an oil field for a while. I could do this. I think he might even did oil rigs for a while. I mean, in the Gulf. I mean, he's a master welder. And I mean, they make bank.
Hey.
My brother's a master electrician.
See, that'd be the way to go.
See, and yeah, it's a good school to have. I mean, there's a lot of trades out there, man. It'd be cool, especially mechanic now, dude. If you can get somewhere, get your stuff right, get your tools all right. Guys like you and me, listen, we still believe in shade tree mechanics. I go to a guy that's just a little mom and pop. Honest to God, it's him and his wife run the shop. I think one of his sons is the other mechanic. And they push away business.
Because you can trust them.
They've been doing it for 20 years. He said, we've never advertised once, and they're always packed. But you can trust them, and they're not real big, and they don't need $1 billion a year. You don't feel like you're getting screwed whenever you walk in, but they know what they're doing. So we're not here to preach at you. You can do what you want to do, but I think before I would get a
communications
degree or a philosophy degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you're planning on staying in Starbucks and singing in the corner for your
Well, and seriously, like I taught at the Colorado Media School, a lot of people want to come in there and be social media influencers or run a social media. Dude, those jobs, the well-paying ones, are like a football job. A lot of people aren't getting them. Yeah. So get yourself something you can live and try. I tell people all the time, while you're getting through school, you ought to go wait tables, because that's something that can get you. It'll teach you how to talk to people you don't know, and it's a skill you could take anywhere, or bartending or whatever, and it teaches you how to time manage and juggle 5. You got 4 tables, you got to remember at all times where everybody's at in their process. Make sure you get it right. Anyway, so and
a tip for all you waiters: keep the water glass full. You always get a bigger tip.
Yeah. You know what? Like anything in life, that's the first thing I learned from waiting tables. Even if there's a problem, just go up and face it and be honest with people about it. Hey, things are being slow. You go hide in the kitchen. That's when they get hacked off. Then the manager's got to go talk to them. Real quickly, before we got to get into some of the sports events and the Broncos just getting yanked around. I don't think you've ever seen anything like it. I know I haven't. What was your favorite high school car? Like right now, I think I got a truck I love, but I'll tell you, I got this Mustang that I should part with it, but I just can't because I'm worried something so cool won't come out again. So now I'm working 2 jobs, I guess, instead of just getting rid of it. But, like, what car, did you have a car that you just was like the car Is it always the first car?
No, my first car was a 67 Volkswagen. Now, I wouldn't mind having that again. And it was before they went to the back end seats when they still had the low seats and everything.
Hey, it's the shaggin' wagon.
No, this is a Volkswagen. This was nobody could sit in the back hardly. I mean, engine in the back,
Right.
But it was a great car. It was a great car. Taught me how to drive the shift, to use a clutch and actually have to shift gears. Taught me how to do that. Then I had probably the one car that I wish I had. Two cars that I have owned. Let me guess. 3, 4 or 5 cars I wish I still had. But I had a 67 Chevy Impala that I wish I had now. 2 doors, so it was cool. Had Krager's on the back, little moon pies on the front. If you pop the clutch too fast, the motor mount was out on the one side, so it'd be stuck in second gear. And then you'd be driving around town, trying to get from a start, trying to get off of a stoplight. But I wish I had that car again. I had a Trans Am. An 81 Trans Am. That was before. This is when they started sissifying them and doing all stuff. It was a turbo, 6-cylinder turbo that just still would look cool. Looked just like the Smokey and the Bandit, black T-tops, but it didn't run like the Smokey and the Bandit.
Didn't have the guts.
But it was still cool, and I wish I still had that. And then I bought when I was. You probably remember this car. I bought a 928 S4 Porsche. It's really
nice.
The only Porsche that could kind of fit me. And actually, I feel bad. I sold it to a guy who always wanted one. And I bought it used. I bought it in probably 95, and it was an 85 or something like that, I think it was. And I bought it in probably 95 or 96. Had 60, 70,000 miles on it. Got a pretty good deal. Sold it, made money off of it. And then like a week later, all the seals and everything busted on it. Dude had to spend $3,500 to replace all the seals on it, and I felt kind of bad about that. But I'm like, ooh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But that would be the one car I wish I had now.
See, again, I had a Pontiac Grand Am, like a new one. My dad bought it. It was not fast enough for his liking because my dad has a bit of a lead foot. He was kind of like he's like the dad out of Talladega Nights. Yeah. He likes to have a little speed under the pedal. So he had a Grand Prix that he was going to give me. Bought himself this Grand Am, thinking it'd be nice for him. And he's like, you know what? I don't like this. You get to keep it. So I got this brand new car, and I was really, really lucky. But I had to drive back and forth from Amarillo. Was the deal with my brothers. Anyway, that was kind of cool. That was again
back when it had the split window on the back, the little shorty window. Did it have?
It had a little short. No, it had a little shorty window in the back.
Yeah,
it was just a 2-door.
I had a '73 Grand Prix.
I'd
take that car. Now it was a boat,
dude. My dad had it.
This one was a boat.
My dad had an Oldsmobile Cutlass or something that could haul, and that's the car he wished he had.
My mom had a Cutlass. I mean, that was a cool car too. Neighbors had a Mach 1. And they were selling it.
Yeah.
It was when I was like 15, and they were selling it. And I begged my mom, that could be my first car. Dude, I mean, I'd love to have one of those right now, too. But old Mustang Mach 1, those were cool, too.
Yeah, my buddy, my best friend in high school, who unfortunately passed because of cancer, I think I told you, I let his dad drive my Mustang first. They were huge Mustang people. They had a Mach 1, the fastback. They had one of the, remember the 80s one that was kind of boxy, and I didn't like it, but they were trying to race it, but, kind of looked like a...
Yeah, they had a boxy one in the 80s, exactly.
It looked a little more family
like
car
80,
than Mustang,
86,
you know what I mean? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Wasn't a cool year for that, but anyway. All right, let's try this beer. Oh, now, you've had it. So this is a pumpkin lager by something called Lakefront Brewery. I'll be honest with you, I was trying to find the Blue Moon pumpkin wheat, and all I really need is 1 or 2 a year. Like, I like it, but I only like a couple of them.
Well, if you're going
to work
at Starbucks, you better like pumpkin spice, my friend.
So you're taking a drink. Now, this is a lager. What do you think of it?
That's not bad for me. I can do that. I don't know if I'd sit here and drop a 6-pack on you.
Right.
But that'd be nice.
It's literally just a plain Jane pumpkin lager, got a pumpkin on it, green label by Lakefront Brewery. I found it at Tipsy's, which is a place you and I like. Yeah, you're right. This is one of those that when the 6-pack's gone, we'll each have 3 maybe.
Yeah. Or you know what I mean? Before you start Thanksgiving dinner and you're watching that first football game and you just pop that while you're sneaking pieces of turkey.
Yeah.
You know, that they're being chopped up and everything. That ain't bad. I
it's a good one.
That. That's fine.
I prefer the Blue Moon, but
see, I'll be the most. I could be honestly the most honest beer connoisseur taster ever because I don't like beer like that.
And you don't care.
Yeah, I don't mind telling you. I was hoping to suck because I was going to tell you suck, but but see, I'm a sucker, dude. Starbucks got me when they came up with the pumpkin spice. I ran home the other day. In fact, I drove to the Starbucks right up the street one morning early. I had to go to the doctor or something. I said, let me get a cup of coffee. I didn't want to brew coffee, so I brought it. I go, yeah, give me a tall triple venti enough. You have pumpkin spice already? They go, yes, sir, we do. I'll take one of them. I am a sucker for the pumpkin spice latte.
Hold on.
I am a freak for pumpkin spice.
That thing shows up like end of August. They've had it for like 6 weeks.
No, they come in September, I think.
No, they don't.
Well, I thought they did.
It's basic white girl season come last week of August, man. No, PSL time.
I thought it was like September or October.
No.
It's kind of like that movie Chocolate. It's right when the wind changes, and all of a sudden pumpkin spice is back at Starbucks.
Well, I mean, that's part of the problem. The wind didn't change. My God, I just want a little fall weather before the winter shows up. But yeah, I guess you said it. I'm going to Starbucks because I used to bartend, and I figure I'll fit in that world a little bit better.
Dude, you realize you're going to go work at Starbucks and you'll be a geezer there?
Oh, I know. I'm well aware.
Yeah.
Whatever. I kind of was a geezer at Home Depot.
Hey, Tom, move that milk over there. Hey, Cindy, bring me that cream. And John, pull them damn pants up.
Pull up your pants. Have you ever seen, if you haven't seen Dennis Leary's thing about coffee, now he's making fun of Starbucks, but it'll have you crying.
Really?
And it's just like he goes 7-Eleven, the last bastion of coffee-flavored coffee, and there's some kid in there selling him a mocha, whatever. Now, it's harsh language. If you're sensitive, don't listen to Dennis Leary. He's just going to upset you.
Oh, yeah. We got to interview him, or I got to interview him with our show when we went to
the Super Bowl.
The debacle Super Bowl
48.
In 48.
Dude, I was telling the story on the air the other day because I love him. All right, Dennis Leary, I love old, angry Irish dude. I can relate. He talks about, I told you the story about my grandpa falling through the glass door. Did I tell that to you or did I say it on the air? No. This is my example of what you're allowed to cry about in my life, all right? My grandpa, old Irish guy, pure Irish, got up one time. He's in his 80s, okay, at this point, like 80. Gets up to go to dinner. We're at my aunt's house. He gets up so we can go to the dinner table and had like a spell or something where he got dizzy. And he literally fell backwards and went through my aunt's glass sliding door. Knocked all the glass out, okay?
Hadn't been drinking yet?
No. And trust me, he's the guy who I got my Manhattan recipe from because that was his drink. So he gets up, dude. Dude is bleeding down the back of his freaking neck. I'm trying to brush glass off my grandpa's neck. I'm all right. Let's go to dinner. Get off me. It's fine. We're all fine. Dude, there's blood like pooling on the white collar he's wearing because, he's got the old man starchy shirt and the sweater on, and he's like mad at me. That's fine. Get the damn roast on the table. I'm just like, good God. I looked at my brother and I go, we can't cry about anything now. Grandpa's eating roast as he's bleeding out the back of his head. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. We'll go to the hospital later. Don't worry about it.
He finally agreed, like, after, fine, you want me to get looked at? If it gets you off me, fine. I'm just like, oh, my God, Grandpa.
How many stitches you get?
Oh, I don't even remember. I didn't want to know. I was like 13 at the time. I was just like, I cried because I scraped my knee the other day, but I guess that's
done. It was a little tougher.
Back in the day, yeah.
Listen, and just me, it's like, listen, they've known the anatomy of human beings for a long time, right? Tendons, I think it was in the 80s when they started that tour with all the dead people freeze-dried and put on the body in motion or whatever it was called. Remember that? They had all these free-tries corpse, and you'd, hey, pay $40 to see a bunch of dead people. Okay. I mean, it was kind of cool, but it was also, really, that turned American. They sold out. Those things sold out. People went, yeah, we can see what the muscles look like in action. That was a dead person. And then people started signing up to donate their bodies for that tour. Yeah, hey, my name will be in lights. Dead guy won. Yeah. It was creepy. But all of a sudden, in the last 10, 15 years, they invented the high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Well, is it a tendon in your ankle? Yeah. Is it your ankle? Yeah. So you got a sprained ankle. Yeah. High. What does that mean? High. Is that just an excuse to have longer off?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've ever had a bad, I had two really, really severe sprained ankles. One probably was high. I'm bleeding all the way up in my calf, and it was just black and blue. It was nasty. But it was a sprained ankle. A week or so, boom, 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 you're playing on it. And I'll tell you the funny thing, I did one my senior year. Actually, it was between my junior and senior year in high school. And the only doctors you got then are your family doctor. And it was actually the guy that delivered me. She goes, hey, let me look at it. Yep, looks like you turned your ankle, Well, just elevate it and stay off of it for 2 or 3 weeks.
Ice it.
Yeah, here's some crutches. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm up there it's a summer between my junior and senior year, and I'm basically having my leg elevated, sitting there in my basement watching TV all day for 2 weeks, not moving. Fast forward about a year and a half ago to college, and it was right before the school year started. We were playing pickup basketball and jumped up to do something, and a ball rolled underneath from their basket, boom, landed on it, just blew my leg up. Twisted the snot out of it. Take me down the trainer because the training staff's all there because, football's already started. They're already practicing and everything. Take me down the training staff, got all these football guys in there, dislocated this, blah, blah, blah. And the trainer's working on my ankle. Hot bath, cold ice tub, hot tub, ice bath, hot tub, contrast, boom, bam, and I'm dying. It's you freeze your ankle up, with the ice bath, then you stick it in a 103 degree hot tub, and it feels like people shooting 6,000 needles in you. And then okay, here's wrap it up. We'll put a horseshoe on it and push all the blood out of the ankle. That's what the stiffness comes. He goes, now walk on it. What? He goes, now walk on it. My family doctor had me laying on the couch for 3 weeks. What do you mean walk on it? He goes, walk on it. You're not walking. You're not leaving here until you walk without a limp. He says, once you start babying, the blood gets in the. That was this whole thing. Once you start babying, the blood's going to get in the joint, and it's really going to stiffen up on you. Walk on that sucker. So, dude, I literally 2.5 hours ago sprained my ankle, and like I said, when I woke up in the morning, my calf was black and blue. Get down here. I'll see you here at 8:30. So I can, But that's what you did. You aggressively treated it, blah, 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 I'm not going to bathe. And now you got a high ankle sprain. Well, we better get a cart. Listen, Noah Fant's got a chance to be great. But I've never seen a dude getting carted off because he's got a twisted ankle. Now, Dak Prescott, cart that joker off.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott with the bone sticking.
Matter of fact, just bring the ambulance. Let's not even put him in the cart.
Yeah, you got stupid turf anyway, which, by the way, looked more like the old turf injuries we talked about than anything else. That foot caught on that turf. Dak Prescott, cart off. I'm okay with that. Got a bone sticking out your leg. But a high ankle sprain, you're going to get a cart? Whatever happened to the two buddies on the side and you limp off or something?
Dude, you get a cart for everything now. Everything. So. Well,
and then and the good thing, I guess, from all these delays of game, chances are, I guess, it's been 17 days, I think, since they last played. You would think an ankle you could play in 17 days.
Yeah, I'm hoping. We might as well get to the Broncos. Have you ever seen anything like this? This is just, it's just crazy. You just keep switching games. As an athlete, because we got into it today on the show, and look, I don't know if you guys got the same thing, and I get it, okay? I will preface all my comments. We just got done telling everybody I'm working 2 jobs, not because I can't wait to work a whole bunch. I've lost a lot of money from side work from all the COVID stuff. My side life is calling games, whether it's the Outlaws lacrosse. I am going to get to do a couple Buff games, but about half the schedule I normally do. So it's been eating into my income. We can't go to bars to do our shows. There's just all sorts of little things that actually get to your big piece of the pie when you're in our business that you and I were all hurting from.
Right.
So I understand the people that are without jobs. I understand all that kind of stuff, that it's frustrating for those right now and you don't want to hear about the problems of millionaires. But as we try to break down for you why you will or won't see a high quality of football, the fact that these dudes were getting ready for one thing, then told it was done, now that was your week off. I mean, I was with the Broncos in 2016, Scotty, okay? We had the late bye that year. It was the week before Thanksgiving, one of the last bye weeks of the season. Guys were hurting. Guys were just trying to get to the bye. They were trying to make that muscle injury that just needs a week off to work so they could, and they were so beat up. And I was trying to explain to somebody today, they're like, well, they just got 3 weeks off. They ought to be rested. Yeah, but you want to be rested middle of the season, 8 weeks with 8 weeks to go. That's what they had. Now, they got all their rest here these last couple weeks, like you said. Now it's got to be a 12-game sprint. You don't think more injuries are coming? You don't, like, that middle of the year bye is so critical to give everybody a break to set up for the run towards the end, and now you've lost it. Can you put into athletes, like, best you can? Well, you're not asking for people to feel sorry for you, but why it can affect how the season goes.
Well, and I will say this, they should probably feel when they finally do play this game better than they normally would have felt for a Week 5 game.
Right.
First and foremost. So that rest is big. Yeah, it's just, I remember one year, it seemed like when I was doing the game, they had a bye in Week 3.
Yeah.
Which meant they had 13 straight weeks of playing, and no one wants that. I don't know. Here's my whole thing and the whole take on this. They're going to have to get through with it, deal with it however they do. My biggest problem on all this is, and this is nothing on COVID's not serious or anything like that, it's you had a process, and you allowed 16 people on your practice squad instead of 8, so that if you got 2 or 3 positive tests, you quarantine them off, get them away, test everybody else, play the game. Those guys are just going to have to miss a game.
Yes.
And now you've got that, and there's more staff that were sick than players. I think they have 6 players, but 2 of them were practice squad already. You had to replace 4 guys. Well, what happened to what you were going to do? Which, in 2 ways of thinking for me. One, if it wasn't a Cam Newton big face, big name,
and Gilmore, right?
The defensive player of the year.
Yep.
If it wasn't that high profile, would the game have already been played?
Yeah.
See, it feels like it to me. And then here's the second thing too. Then no test, no positive, or negative. Oh, we got a positive. Well, now we got to push the game back another week. And I said this day on the show too, that New England has used up all their "we should just trust them" cards.
Right, I agree.
And so if this would have happened to Miami the following week, for example, I don't think any of us would ever think anything might be on the sly. But because it's New England, and they got to play a game without Cam Newton, and we saw that their backup quarterback sucks, Hoyer, and their young guy, Stidham, not ready. In fact, I'm not sure the guy that's Auburn now better than the guy than Stidham, but we saw you play with those guys and you sucked. You weren't any good. Denver has a chance to beat you guys, even on the road. Then all of a sudden now that it's postponed for 17 days?
Well, and so let me ask you a tough question, okay? Because you're right. It feels like something's always up. Who are the 2 most powerful owners in the league?
Bob Kraft and Jerry Jones.
Thank you. Okay? Who owns the Patriots?
Bob Kraft.
Do you not, and I know Kistler wrote about this morning. We're recording this on a Monday. I don't know when people are going to consume it. I am sorry. And I think John Elway and Joe Ellis are doing their absolute best to get through this situation as part of the trust and just keep things going as best they can. But do you not feel like if Pat Bowlen was alive, he wouldn't have told somebody around there, you aren't making my team make all the concessions because they're the ones with the positive test? Because that's not what this should be. Denver has no positive tests. Now Denver's gone from road game, late game, 3 o'clock on a Monday, which was going to screw your fan base anyway. Now you're losing your bye, and you don't get a home game this week before. You were going to play the Dolphins before you played the Chiefs. Now you got to play the Patriots before you play the Chiefs. And you've lost your middle of the season bye. You really think Pat Bowlen would have put up with all that because the Patriots are having an issue? Seriously.
Well, you would hope. I don't know. I would think he would at least make some sort of noise. And
He'd have made some stink and at least made them come here. If we're moving our game, then you're coming here. Right? I'm sorry. Pat had as much cachet as Kraft did after putting that Sunday night deal together. And now it just feels like because Joe Ellis, again, I think Joe Ellis is doing the best he can to get us through this situation, whatever that may be. Ownership transfer to Brittany or selling the team. But you can't tell me Joe Ellis has the ability to walk in there and say, you're not screwing us like this the way Pat could have.
I think that's an interesting point. I had not thought of it that way, but you're probably right. And then add on top of this, Joe Ellis and the commissioner are buddies. So they say, hey, Joe, I know this hard on you guys. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Whereas maybe, I mean, Mr. Bowlen, listen, we didn't get to see Mr. Bowlen negotiate. We didn't get to see how he worked behind the curtain tent, so to speak. But you're right. He was a well-respected guy in the community and in the owners community. That's an interesting thought, man. I didn't even think about that because who is allowed to fight for the Denver Broncos? Could somebody have said, no, we're not doing that. We're not playing Sunday, Monday. Okay, we'll do it 3 o'clock.
It's two people. It ain't the Titans.
No.
Like you just said, you've got extra players, okay? You don't get your corner. You don't get your guys. Sorry. We're playing this game. We're flying out there. We're playing the game. You pick the day. You pick the time. But we're playing this damn game. Because you went, you like screwed up 10 other games for this one.
Right.
So, and you lose that prime. The Broncos have not had the prime buy in a while.
It feels like you're kissing the ass of the New England Patriots, who have all the franchises in the NFL, has been the one that has thumbed their nose up more at the Broncos since Al Davis passed away anyway, has thumbed their nose up to rules and regulations in the NFL more than any other ownership group. Fair?
Yeah.
Fair? I mean, they got cheated again just a year or so ago.
Yeah.
You know, filming practices.
Filming Cincinnati of all teams. Cincinnati, Scotty.
Yeah.
Not the Joe Burrow Bengals, the Andy Dalton Bengals.
Yeah, and I said, what I did say on the radio, if it was anybody but these guys, then you might think, okay, you know, see, I mean, if it was the week after, it was Miami. Okay, whatever, you know. But it feels like they're doing something. B, and they feel like they're getting concessions.
Yeah.
But here's the time we live in, because we had a guy on from New England radio.
I heard it.
And he goes, well, you know, this COVID thing is, you know, it's a pretty serious thing. And blah. So all you do is throw that in there. Well, that's a serious thing. You know, just because you have a positive test or negative test today doesn't mean you can't have a positive, because it takes, as he said, 5 days to incubate. Now, CDC says they don't know. It's 2 to 14. So why don't we wait another 14 days on top of this? What if they still have a positive test on day 16 of this?
Well, let me ask you this. Are you not worried about the Chiefs? Like, I'm a little surprised the Chiefs played yesterday. Chiefs and Raiders played. Well, remember, it was just Monday night that you saw Gilmore hugging Mahomes. And to your point, if we're really going to go by the guidelines, which does say up to 2 weeks, and I read something today about in Tennessee, the players in Tennessee are starting to not necessarily trust the testing situation there, because the guys that weren't showing symptoms pop positive, and the guys that were not were negative, or the guys that had symptoms were negative, and the ones that were not were positive. And it just feels like the NFL is trying to rush this thing to say they got the testing in. And look, this is tough. I think the NFL is doing the best job it can. All the sports are doing the best job they can. Everybody's going to be different with this thing. But, you know, if we're really going to, either you're going to play or you're not, I guess. And so now you've screwed up a whole schedule. And you know who really got screwed? How about this? How about the Bills? The Broncos aren't even the worst case. You realize the Bills went into Friday? They were either going to play Tuesday against the Titans or Thursday against the Chiefs, and they weren't sure which. On freaking Friday, man.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Because who do you plan for?
Right.
I mean, it's twice.
So now I
much
find
work.
out Sunday that all of a sudden we're playing the Chiefs Thursday after all, and there is no Titans game. Oh, by the way, we just spent all our usable practice time getting ready for the Titans.
Yeah, I'm not sure they thought this out well, or maybe they did, but they refused to follow what their guidelines were.
Well, Scotty, we all know you probably should have planned for a 14-game season with 2 weeks for the extra stuff. Or you should have just said the Super Bowl is going to be closer to March, and every 4 weeks or so we're going to leave a week open to make up games. Because what the other sports told you is guys are going to get it.
Yep.
Guys are going to get it. The NBA had guys get it. The NHL had guys get it. The baseballs had guys get it.
But once the NBA and NHL went to the bubble, they were all good.
Well, it's funny because I was driving over here tonight. I got an alert from The Athletic that says they're, at least for the playoffs, they're now thinking about the bubble for the NFL, and they're just going to play in 2 stadiums. You realize we're probably going to have a fanless Super Bowl this year.
Wow, you mean all them corporate guys aren't going to get
all the
seats?
Corporate guys don't get to go to their big party.
Wow.
So, I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's just crazy, but I just can't believe the Broncos, it just doesn't feel fair in some ways. It doesn't feel right.
No.
And maybe we're too close to the situation, but again, 2 positives in New England, and the Broncos are the ones that are switching everything around.
Well, for me, I've kind of enjoyed 2 weekends in a row not having to be forced to sit and watch bad football.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Nate Kreckman on our show made a point that he's divorced the Chicago Bears, did it years ago, and said, now unfortunately for him, he's become a fan of his fantasy team, which apparently sucks and had a bunch of guys missing, and he had the Steeler receiver that went off yesterday. That guy was on his bench. So that's 45 points on the bench.
So is he new to this fantasy football stuff?
No, he's not. He loves his fantasy team and his prop betting. Okay, that's what Nate likes, and he watches Red Zone channel. You and I are built that way. But I will agree with you. I will never divorce my Bronco fandom. I was raised in a Bronco household. It was too much part of the culture of what we did. It was my social life on a Sunday all throughout the fall, right? And it has been since I was 5 years old. But like you, the last couple Sundays, just sitting here watching football and not really giving it no skin in the game or nothing to get me ticked off or put me in a bad mood or, figure out that maybe we don't have a quarterback like KC or LA or whoever does, which hopefully Drew Lock comes back and proves that he is. It's been kind of nice to just watch games and not care.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's go AFC West now. Let's talk some football here. Who's the best quarterback in the AFC West?
Mahomes.
Who's second?
Boy, Herbert's starting to look like he may be, huh?
That's what I'm saying.
And by the way, let me just say
how bad did Carr look yesterday?
Carr looked all right now.
Right.
Yeah. So Locke has got some pressure in he returns. But I'll say this, for everybody saying, we don't know nothing about quarterbacks, I got it on real good authority. If Justin Herbert would have come out last year, Elway was going to go all in on whatever he had to do to go get that kid.
And I'd heard the same thing. They loved him. Remember, he went up and saw him.
Loved him.
Yeah. So I'm not so sure that he wouldn't have done everything he could to pull this kid out. You're right.
He might have given him the whole draft.
Yeah, well, or who knows. But, yeah, I was told the same exact thing. The interesting thing for me as Locke now – having all these non-weekend playing games.
Oh, right.
I mean, he would have missed, 16 of his first, or 4, 11, 15. He probably would have missed 16 of his first 21 games.
Yeah. Would have been rough, man.
I mean, there's an old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. I think when it comes to Bronco quarterbacks, absences make you doubt that they can play.
Well, yeah. Well, but again, in fairness, I mean, here's what I'm frustrated by. Just both as a fan of the team and a guy who's supposed to give an opinion about it on the radio every week, right? Because you're probably in the same joint. I mean, what are you? And what do we have? And what do you have? And what moves do you need to make? I don't know what you have, okay? I don't know if you've got the guy or not. Because as we're finding out in the NFL, let's be honest about it. The Broncos, as injured as they are, may not be good enough to avoid a top 5 pick. Okay? They have lost all the major dudes, So to me, if you're going to be too injured to be any good anyway, then give me some Trevor Lawrence. Give me Fields. Give me something.
Well, let me ask this. Couple things I think you found out, though, by the injuries already. What's the cornerback that you can't pronounce his name?
Bouye?
No.
A.J. Bouye? Oh, Ojemudia?
Ojemudia.
He can play a little bit, right?
Play.
Yeah.
So you found out, guess what you got? You got you a young cornerback that's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And you know who else I think can play too? I think Bosby can play too.
No, I agree with you. So, I do not understand why Bosby was not on the regular season roster with what he did last year.
Yeah, I think you've just found out you've got two nice young cornerbacks going forward. That's good to know.
Real good.
You know what I think, and I don't know if you said this, and I know that Rippon had a couple bad turnovers. The one was, and he admitted he was on our show, said, I've never done that pass. Throw it all the way out of bounds. He said, I was trying to make a play, and then last I said, okay, whatever.
He got caught between throwing it out of bounds and thinking he could throw it to somebody.
But you know what I think? I feel like I felt after that? You found a backup quarterback.
Well, at minimum, kid can process things. Leggy said it to all our shows, Jeff Legwald. Kid completed a pass at every 10-yard increment. That shows you he's seeing the chess match.
Yeah. Well, and listen, if you don't see Driscoll the rest of the year, you okay?
Yeah, oh yeah. Unless he's, like the Saints guy, Tavon, whatever. What's the kid?
Yeah, he's on TV right now.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Josh Dover's boy.
Yeah, unless it's a Taysom Hill is the guy's name.
Taysom Hill.
Unless it's a Taysom Hill type package where you use that guy's speed, because Driscoll ran like a 4.4, 4.5 40 or something like that. If you can use his speed to get out on the edge and then maybe throw a couple passes over a defender's head, then fine. But you're not look, did I not tell you guys during camp on your show, I thought Rippon was the better quarterback all along. I did not understand why they signed Driscoll. I did not understand why Driscoll was ahead in the depth chart. And the only disappointment, I'm glad Drew Lock looks like he's on track to play against New England, but wasn't there a part of you that wanted to see what Rippon would have looked like a week later with practice?
Yeah, with practice, second week, see where he improves. Absolutely. Vic Fangio today in his press conference even said that if the game would have been Monday, Drew Lock wouldn't have played. So you were going to get another chance of Rippon, and I want to see that. But I feel that no matter what, and hopefully Drew Lock comes back and plays well, you found a quality backup quarterback. And we hate seeing what happened to Dak Prescott, but guess what? Andy Dalton maybe he's past it. Being that starter guy, pretty good backup,
dude.
Good backup quarterback.
How about that receiving core? They have an embarrassment of skill position people out there.
But now you know why that, through 4.5, 4 3/4 games Dak Prescott played, he's thrown for 1,800 yards. I mean, come on now.
He's got some dudes catching the ball.
425 yards of passing.
Shout out to Michael Gallup, CSU product. Huh? So, I don't know, man. It's let me ask you this. We got to wrap this one up. We've gone a little long, but we're going to start getting these out every week again because I'm going to be free. Real quickly, I brought up that Brett Rippon could be intriguing, and immediately I got a fan. Get off this. What are you doing? I mean, this is silly. What are you talking about? It's Drew Lock or nothing. And I dealt with that pushback because, as you know, look, was Trevor Siemian in my eyes ever going to be your franchise guy? No, but you and I have talked about it. He could have been a good bridge for you.
Yeah,
and the fans did not want him.
Backup.
The fans did not want him because he was a 7th-round guy and not the first-round messiah that was promised to him like Paxton Lynch. So I dealt with a number of fans on talk shows. You probably are the same way, where it was either Paxton Lynch or nothing, right? Why is it that way in this? Why? I hope it's Drew Lock because he's got the better arm and the better physical skill set. But if you're a Bronco fan, don't you just care that you find a damn dude to be your guy? I don't really care where you find him.
Yes. No, I don't care, and that's why idiots like guys like Mark Mosier, were so anti-Rippon. But that was exactly what it was. He's a 7th-round dude, pretty good pick, pretty good draft for a 7th round.
He was undrafted free agent.
Yeah, well, okay, even better then. I thought Sloter was the undrafted free agent.
Both of them.
I thought
Rippon got the biggest unsigned
deal,
college UFA bonus of everyone out there, which is how everybody knew at minimum he'd go to the practice squad. So
well, I'm like you. I thought he was better than people gave him credit for. He still had a winning record as a starting quarterback for the Broncos. Name a quarterback in the last 4 years that can say that. I guess Drew Lock can. I mean, he's 5-2 now. I guess
4-1,
4-2,
4-2.
Yeah,
technically
4-2,
he's 4-3 because in that stupid NFL quirkiness, because he started the Pittsburgh game, that's his loss, even though he didn't make it through the first quarter.
Right.
So.
Well, so yeah, I still stand by this that absence makes the heart grow fonder, except with NFL quarterbacks, because I now feel less confident about Drew Lock than I did when this thing started.
Well, because we got one bad game of looking at him. That game against Titans wasn't great, but there's their first chance to run live reps with the offense. I'll tell you this: they had a metric, they had some graph. I'll have to show it to you, of where all the offensive lines are as far as effectiveness, like the higher parts. There were some that are great in the run, some great in the pass, some great both. Broncos were – I had to look for the Bronco because they showed them all by the logo. Broncos look like the horse that drowned at the bottom of the graphic because they got to get a better offensive line, or I don't know if getting Drew Lock's going to matter. I really don't.
I don't disagree.
It's got to smooth out.
Well, but you talk about the injuries, and all your best players have gotten hurt at top skill positions, and quarterback and linebacker and right guard, defensive line, and your best offensive lineman took the opt out before the season started. So I know he's not injured, but Juwan James is supposed to be a guy that 2 years ago you paid a lot of money to be a starting right tackle and solidify at least that side of the line. And he's hurt all last year, and this year he opts out. So, I mean, that's another, MIA for your team, too.
I know. It's crazy. All right. We'll talk more. We got to get into the Nuggets. We'll get a little, we'll let this digest, but it's good to be back.
I just want to make sure the next time we talk, if we do talk a little NBA, that you just give LeBron some respect. He earned some damn respect.
Sure he did. He sure did.
At Christmas.
Dude, what's going on? We might as well touch on that real quick, too, because seriously, I like LeBron. I think LeBron – no, I'm with you. I think, to me, I've marveled at the fact that you seem to make a team a contender everywhere you go. But this crying wannabe bad guy, you know what it feels like? Remember when Kobe, after all the stuff here, kind of decided he'd take on the villain's role for a little bit? And that's how the Black Mamba, as I remember it anyway, was sort of created. And I'm just going to be the one everybody loves to hate and steer into the curve. Is LeBron just trying to fake that? I mean, what is this?
Well, I'll ask you this, and you can put on your thinking cap for all sports. Name me a superstar, and he is a superstar, that's ever had to beg for people to like him.
Yeah.
I mean, Peyton Manning's as likable of a guy as there is. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Didn't beg for that. Never heard him come out and say, well, I want you to like me. He didn't pull a Sally Fields. You like me. You really like me. So I don't get that either. Want this town? Everybody's respected the Lakers. They're one of the premier franchises.
Bro, you guys get more foul calls than anybody.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what I just feel, and I said this a week earlier. I don't think there's been a more rehearsed and scripted star athlete in pro sports ever than LeBron James. It seems everything he does is designed, plotted, marketed, and put out there for everybody. And I think he's got a lot of people and believe in him. That's great. But I think there's a lot more people going, really?
Yeah.
You're not respected? Really?
Yeah, I think nobody wanted to hear that last night.
You can't play the underprivileged. The underdog. You're not an underdog. Sorry, LeBron. When you beat Golden State and you're in Cleveland, you're an underdog. You're not the underdog.
Yeah. Hey, you're not Jamal Murray or Joker or any of the guys that have had to be drafted onto a team and hope it all works out. You've never even been part of a Golden State Warrior. You've gone everywhere, and they bought you the free agent teammates that you've wanted. So I really don't want to hear you crying.
That's right.
You've been able to handpick the roster you play with. So, oftentimes for the owner paying the luxury tax. So just take your rings, smoke your cigars, make your billions of dollars with your shoe company or whatever, and go live your nice life. But, when you put... Because I've been a fan. I feel like he's gotten too much a bad rap. But, dude, that stuff, whatever that little stunt was last night, man, whatever. Anyway, I hope you'll damn respect me next time.
How about the commissioner come out and goes, Bill Russell couldn't be here, and blah, blah, blah. But now the MVP goes to a guy who I'm sure will have an award named after him someday. Really?
Well, there you go. There you go.
So we know where the commissioner has hitched his wagon.
Well, yeah, what's he going to do? Yeah. It's a stars league. It's why I worry, honestly, about the Nuggets ultimately getting over the top, because someone's got to bring them the political capital so they can do it, right? Maybe. I'm sorry.
Maybe.
The NBA is built off its stars and its large markets for some of those ratings that they get. You don't get as large a rating if New York or if L.A. or, Houston, Miami, some of these bigger markets aren't helping feed it. Philadelphia, Boston.
Well, and everybody said, well, what about Miami? Well, Miami overachieved. I'll give them that. But wasn't it funny? Who was their big title sponsor? One of their big title sponsors for the bubble playoffs.
Wasn't it an insurance company or something?
Michelob Ultra.
Okay.
Who was the spokesman for Michelob Ultra and the commercial started even before the playoffs started?
Was it Butler?
One, Jimmy Butler.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Funny how that works.
Isn't that funny?
Funny how all that works.
Isn't that funny?
Things that make you go, who? All right, brother. All right, we'll be back at you next week. Hopefully the Broncos will play the game. It's the Zoo Crew Redo Podcast. Send us those drink suggestions. We'll try another one next week.